Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. KG is back. It is time for a brand new video, and we're going to be speaking about Daniel Farke. Report surfacing today that if he loses the next two games, he is sacked. Now, we're going to get into, do you need to wait two games, or what if he wins the next two games? We'll get into all of that in this video, plus an update on an injured player and a couple of other things as well, including a managerial candidate that you guys have mentioned that is quite interesting to me. Before I get into it, though, please like the video. It's free to do, helps out the channel. Thank you to Phil for the super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated as always. And of course, members of the channel, thank you for the continued support. You make this thing go. Now, before we get into it in terms of Daniel Farke, we had a couple of results yesterday that were very favorable for us in terms of still being in touch with trying to get out the bottom three. Obviously, Wolves are Wolves. They lost against Aston Villa, is what it is with them. But there was two results that really went in our favor, and they could have gone either way. And that's West Ham, Liverpool. And you're thinking with the way Liverpool are, there was a chance West Ham could do something. Thankfully, they didn't even get a point, which is great. And Forest losing at home to Brighton. So in terms of that, although the worst result over the weekend was definitely Fulham beating Spurs, and we'll get into that a bit later, but it keeps us in touch with getting out of the bottom three if we continue to make changes with the way we're playing and get the very best out of this squad. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But in terms of the squad, somebody that could be missing, mentioned it in yesterday's video, but Dan James, a little bit of an update. It is a hamstring issue again with DJ. And Farke said after the game, it didn't look too good. And listen, it doesn't matter what you thought of DJ in the first half. I thought he was a decent outlet at times, and he was causing Man City problems. We need everybody available in this squad for different games, for different scenarios, as you saw in this very game itself. We need everyone available to try and give us the best chance of staying up. And if DJ is going to be out again, unfortunately for me, Dan James has veered into that injury-prone status now. He just seems to go out every so often, and it's been like that over the last 2 years. Like it's not that he misses a whole bunch of games, but he seems to miss time. And so with this one now, we'll see what Farke's got to say. And the press conference is tomorrow, so we're going to roll the press conference and the match preview tomorrow, because obviously we played Chelsea Wednesday. So join me live for that one on Tuesday. So look out for me in the afternoon at sometimes, and that's when we'll get into lineup predictions or preferences and score predictions too. But yeah, DJ being out, that is a rough one. But the news, the main topic, of course, is Daniel Farke. And I've got to say, from my comments, and I can only judge it by that and then what you obviously read online, it seems like there's very little rope for Daniel Farke these days. And even with, and I was worried about this because we did so well in the second half against Man City. I did think people were going to go, well, look, he changed it, so maybe we should keep him. But it seems people are really set on, no, he ain't it. We need to do something different in order to get the very best out of these players. Well, Matt Hughes on The Guardian has said he's facing a defining week as lead manager, with senior figures at the club expecting him to be sacked if he loses the next two against Chelsea and Liverpool. And let's face it, they're no easy task. But what I will say in that instance is that he had easier tasks to get points and he didn't. So for me, it's not that he's going to get sacked if he fails to win these two. It's because he didn't get points in the other ones. And it just goes back to the thing of when he's talking in pre-match press conferences about, hey, every game is a must-win. Yes, because now you're in a position now where with two games against Chelsea and Liverpool, you could be sacked because you didn't get points in those other must-wins. So it's just crazy how all of these things come up, isn't it? He says a lot of stuff, but sometimes he shoots himself, doesn't he, in terms of he says something, but then it comes back to bite him on the behind. Like in our first year when we were trying to get promoted, you're either a believer or doubter, and then we didn't get promoted. So it's one of those. But the question is here, why wait? Why wait? You could make the argument that these are two tough fixtures. And, you know, Chelsea, they're going to be missing Moises Caicedo, but they've got like 6 other midfielders to fill in his place. He's a good player, but they've got other people to fill in that spot. But you could say that these are two difficult fixtures, so why give the new manager these? I would say in the way that Liverpool are playing, a new manager with a different system, a new, bounce from the players, you never know, could trouble them. Liverpool have not been great this season. And I look at Chelsea at home, under the lights at Ellen Road, that would be one where you think it could happen. But what Daniel Farke has got to do, if he's got any chance of keeping his job, is change the system. And we went through this on yesterday's video. But another comment he made in regards to the 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, whichever way you want to do it, is that he needed certain players to be on the bench. But either way, whichever way that he said this, it's not good either on Daniel Farke or the recruitment, because he was talking about Metro and DCL not playing them together because one is always, got fitness problems while the other plays. So whether it was Metro with his fitness issues and DCL was playing, then DCL had adductor issues, and then Metro was playing. But obviously Metro's been scoring, so he stays in the team. But what that just says to you is that both Farke, who rubber stamped those strikers, as we know, he was very heavily involved in recruitment in those strikers. The recruitment team, they knew what they were doing in getting injury-prone players. They're making it so that it's not possible to play those two in particular up front at one time because one of them's been unfit. So it doesn't matter how it's being worded. We're not getting the preferred lineup because sometimes the availability isn't there, which is absolutely insane. But we knew that from the summer, so let's not go over that. But Daniel Farke, in terms of him talking that the 3-5-2 isn't the answer and it's not that easy, that's not going to help him because, we do the preview tomorrow, as I said, but if he comes out tomorrow with a 4-3-3 and you've got the usual suspects back in and we lose the game, it's going to be tough for him. Now, I'm not saying that the 3-5-2, we play that one and we're just going to automatically beat Chelsea. Not saying that. But I just feel it gives us the best opportunity. And if we want to get out of this bottom three, a lot of you are saying that you feel we can survive if we play the 3-5-2. There is a good chance that we could get out of it with that setup, even with this current crop of players, because we're at the bottom of the table, people. It's not great down here, but on occasions, there's going to be times where West Ham with Bowen, he's going to come up with the goods. Forest, I think, will be more than fine as well. I'm not really counting Fulham at this stage now. But there's teams around us with game changers. We've got to be a collective unit in order to get the very best out of him, as evident in the second half against Man City. But is Farke going to do that? We've seen it before when he's been stubborn about something in terms of the whole Peru being a 9 or 10. Remember that in the first year he was here. A near 15-minute speech about why Peru plays where he plays, even though it was wrong. And then he literally changes it in the second half of the season without a word being said because, we can't mention it again. That always happens with him. He's so stubborn. And listen, I always say this in terms of managers. If you're going to die on your sword, die on your sword. No problem. Bielsa did it. He wouldn't let up with the training sessions that the players had grown tired of. And I know that for a fact. I think that's well documented now, actually. Jesse Marsh. There's managers that are just so stubborn with their ways, they will go out on that sword. We see Russell Martin at various places he's been. No matter what the game state is, he plays one way. It's admirable, but ultimately you're going to head one way. Now, the question is, would you wait the 2 games? Some of you would say yes, so the manager can get the games after the Liverpool one, and that's fine. But what the 49ers have got to do, because this has been obviously leaked out again, they've done it again, have this new candidate lined up. Whoever it is, have them lined up. Now, please don't be Big Ange. Please, I beg you, just don't do that. Gary O'Neill, no. I don't know if he's got a job in the Championship. But one name that somebody mentioned on Insta yesterday, and shout out to you for the message, was Thomas Frank because of his situation at Tottenham. Now, what I will say with this one is I would have Thomas Frank all day, every day. But the fan base, you've got to be ready for him because the thing with the 49ers with their next appointment, what I do feel we need is someone with high standards, not someone that's proud that we almost got a point against Man City, but somebody who's got standards and that will set that bar from the top down. We need that in our next manager. Will the 49ers appoint someone like that? I don't know, but Thomas Frank is very honest. And he said something very recently about the Tottenham fans who, I don't know if you've seen it, but Vicario made a big error against Fulham, which, got them 2-0 down. Scored by Harry Wilson, by the way. I know a few of you will love that one. But from then on, for a few touches after, maybe 6-7 touches, Vicario was getting booed by his own fans. And Thomas Frank came out and said, those aren't true Tottenham fans. Now, I just think of Leeds United fans hearing that and Leeds United fans hearing they're not true Leeds United fans if they boo somebody on the team. I don't know how well that will go down with this fan base. I really don't know. But that's what you'd have to accept with a manager like Thomas Frank. Now, even though it's not going great at Tottenham, I think that if he comes back to the level of a Leeds United, like it was at Brentford, I think he'd be brilliant. So this is a situation, but please don't leave a comment of, well, why would we want someone who's been sacked? Every manager gets sacked, people, but it's about where they're at. And obviously at Tottenham, it's not fully working out at this point. But if he does get sacked, I would absolutely love Thomas Frank at Leeds United. This is a coach who I've spoken about before that has different formations for different game states. He'll play two up front. He'll go with a 4-3-3. He'll play with a two up front, dependent on the opponent. That's what he did all the way through his Brentford tenure. Whether it's a direct game or a shorter passing game, he does it all. It all depends on the opponent, and that is what I am begging for from my next coach. That is what I want. So listen, people, if Thomas Frank did become available, we've seen the merry-go-round in the Premier League this season. Nuno's had, two different jobs and just had, a job and gone again. It moves very quickly. So if they're waiting for Thomas Frank to get the bullet, I'd be happy. I'd be happy. But I'm sure there are other candidates, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I just want to put my two cents in about Thomas Frank. I'm here for the whole honesty thing. I might not agree with everything he says, but I'm here for the conversations. He will not toe the company line when he feels something, and that has been evident through his tenure at Brentford and obviously now at Tottenham, where they are very, very unhappy with him, talking about the supporters. But listen, people, what say you with this report? 2 games. Is it worth the 2 games? Would you give him the 2 games and then get someone in? Who would you get in? Realistic people? Don't say anything like Cesc Fabregas, or I would even say Thiago Motta. I don't see Thiago Motta working with these players. I would love Thiago Motta, but that's not going to happen. If you've got any realistic suggestions, put them in the comments. And as always, people, like the video, and I will be back tomorrow live with the preview for Chelsea. See you then. Peace out.